Damn, Sean. This one cuts deep. How long will they mourn me?
Tell me, Lord, why they take King Tuck? We won't have to hear King Tuck anymore.
Well, yeah, you won't be potentially blinded by the crowns in right field, but on YouTube at ESPN Houston, Cebu says King Paredes at Dakin Park just doesn't hit the same. I'm with you, dude.
It really doesn't. Every part of that makes me sad.
Yeah. It is a bummer. He's been here a while. The playoff moments makes it easier to say goodbye. They do. I mean, it does make it easier.
I mean, but he is. I mean, it wasn't like it was some fantastic catch, but he, like, when they showed the last out of the 2022 World Series, it is Kyle Tucker in right field. That makes
You're
the
right.
catch.
He does make the catch.
He does live on in that way.
He did have a big home run in that World Series. Yeah. But you weren't going to re-sign him. I hate to sound like a propagandist. Really, how I feel about the Kyle Tucker deal, and I think all of you guys should feel the same way, depends on what happens with Alex Bregman. I can handle Tucker leaving if Bregman stays. If Tucker and Bregman leaves, damn it! Yeah, I will be pissed.
I think we've been saying that all week, where I think we could stomach one of the two leaving. Mm-hmm. But if you go 0 for 2, that's when the Astros will have not a serious problem on their hands as far as wins and losses, although maybe, but a serious problem on their hands when it comes to the fan base. Not like they're going to lose anybody or lose like swaths of the fan base, but just the vibes will be at an all-time low.
They're very low on the Twitch. SRTX86. Dana Brown is an effing moron. He got fleeced again. Dana is a moron. He said it twice. Poor Marine. Dude is a horrible GM. He is like Dusty. Hey, we do not slander Dusty Baker on the show.
Watch it there.
I got a text from a friend, and she said, "Are you serious? You like Martin Maldonado?" And I was like, "Yeah, because he wins.
Winner.
The Astros haven't won the World Series since he left.
Since they scapegoated him, yeah.
Right. Hell, they haven't been to an ALCS since he left.
Makes you think.
How long will we mourn Maldy?
Forever.
Maldy more important than Astros than Kyle Tucker, if we're being honest.
Now you are a propagandist.
No, he was more important. He was more important. We're talking about the defensive mastermind that knew how to call a game in a way that others didn't. I'm not saying that sarcastically. Stop smirking. I'm not. He is like an actually good Bill Belichick at catcher. You know, like if Bill Belichick actually beat the Giants in Super Bowl 42, that's what Martin Maldonado brought to the table. You know, he's not going to get beat by Eli Manning on the throw.
Never has.
Now, maybe by a pass ball, he'd get beat by that. Or by any runner trying to steal a base, he'd get beat by that. Yeah. But that's not where you get beat. You only get beat in your heart and in your mind and in your soul.
I was going to say, to be fair, you're comparing to Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick wasn't he wasn't out there pass rushing. He wasn't out there intercepting passes. No, he was the brains of the operation. That's what Martin Maldonado is.
So it's out by everyone now. Ken Rosenthal, Chandler Rome, Kyle Tucker to the Cubs for Isaac Paredes, Hayden Wesneski, and Cam Smith done. Wesneski, a Cy-Fair product, is a Houston guy. I think people wanted Suzuki instead of him. I think this makes sense. Look, the pitching is a problem at this moment in time. I don't think they have as much depth as they are being chesty about. They needed a guy, and I believe that they are interested in that. And I actually do trust the Astros when it comes to bringing in a pitcher. You saw what they did with Kikuchi. That's the best Kikuchi's ever looked. And I covered the guy in Seattle, and he had that electric stuff. But, I mean, right away, he's throwing 12 strikeouts, you know? Yeah. This guy gets good strikeout numbers. You've seen Hunter Brown's development this year. You've seen Spencer Arrigetti's development this year. They do a good job with pitchers. Fromber is the question mark, and some people are wondering if Fromber's next to be traded. We talked with Chandler. Doesn't sound like anything's truly on the table as far as a deal the Astros would accept. I think people are just calling about Fromber, doing their due diligence.
Yeah. It seems much more like when people say anyone's on the table, it's more of that where they don't immediately hang up the phone when someone says Fromber's name like they would for Jordan or Altuve. I do think that this does put a lot of pressure on Cam Smith.
For sure.
This trade, like Cam Smith, you better be good, and because while you're optimistic about Wesneski, and I agree with you in principle that if he's gonna figure it out, it'll be at a place like the Astros. I'm also not like I don't know how high to set the expectations for this guy though. Like he's kind of seems like a guy through in his numbers. Like he's a guy. He's not a top line starter. I mean, for most of it, he's not. Most of his appearances are as a bullpen arm. So I'm not sure where to like slot him in on a rotation. Like,
is he like Christian Javier? Like, what happens? Because Javier, of course, when you start using him more, that's when all of a sudden the health issues happen.
So I'm not ready to be like, sweet, they got Hayden Wesneski, Isaac Paredes, good stopgap, whatever. It all kind of lands on Cam Smith's shoulders and he has to be the goods.
And if they're willing to break the CBT to keep Alex Bregman.
That too.
We don't know what Bregman wants. I'd imagine he wants more than what the Astros have offered because the Astros are married to this idea that you can't give somebody more than a 5 or 6 year deal. We have Joe George's official take on this, texting from vacation. Hardworking man. Cam Smith is a stud. Joe does know the Cubs system very well. Probably see him in 2026 at the latest. Hayden is solid. I don't really like the trade for the Cubs because I don't think they pay Tucker. That definitely sounds on brand for the Cubs.
Yeah, no.
And that's on brand for Joe, expecting the worst out of the teams that he roots for.
And for the most part being right.
That's true. Really true.
Yeah. I mean, that part, I don't know why, but it does make me feel better about the trade. Just the fact it's worse for the Cubs.
Joe doesn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
We fleeced them. How about that?
Boom.
Didn't think about that, did they?
But yeah, I mean, that sounds like Cam Smith. It's your time. It's your time, buddy.
Yeah. Isaac is listed as a third baseman, says Luis on YouTube. So are they planning on Bregman leaving? I hope not. I really hope not.
It sounds like at the very least, it's insurance for if he does leave, they can slot him in at third. Like Chandler said, he does have experience playing first base in the past. So that is the optimistic
propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the optimistic.
So Michael Schwab, I'm sure, is reporting, quote,
first base
quote right now.
Paredes, first baseman.
Mm-hmm. It is an Ask Alon Anything Friday. A couple of questions that I will answer. Paul, my random superpower is randomly thinking about someone I haven't seen in a long time, and I end up seeing them in a week or two.
That's
a
interesting.
Superpower? Okay. What's your random superpower? I have just always been really white. That's really it. That's all I got.
Untannable skin.
I'm incredibly white. Just so white. So white. I mean, I can go out in the sun and I have to put on sunscreen. I can burn, but I'm also very good at not getting sunburned despite my whiteness. Am I a day walker? I don't know.
That is interesting.
Am I Lestat, the gay vampire from have you seen that movie? Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt?
No.
Oh. It's a fun movie.
It sounds
Interview
fun.
with the Vampire.
It sounds fun.
It's a fun movie.
Haven't gotten a chance.
This is from the Twitch at ESPN 975. Who asked this one? Trying to find the handle. I think this is HTX Rhino. Paul, is there vodka in your Stanley? I wish, because Kyle Tucker's gone.
Yeah, if we knew this was Kyle Tucker gets traded day,
I would have brought some booze. I surely would have brought some booze.
Pour one out for our homie.
Mm-hmm. Patrick 64228 says Cam Smith is our highest rated prospect. He's 77th overall. He's only 77th. Now I don't know what that means, and obviously these rankings are like subjective year to year. Yeah. So maybe this season, maybe that's last year's ranking, and next year's ranking is going to be better.
Let's get an update.
Right, because I mean he did get drafted last year. I don't think they maybe they do update it on the fly. I don't know.
I think it's like a twice a year thing because they always
Okay.
make like it's before the season, after the season. Yeah, I think.
SRTX 86, very pessimistic. Cam Smith was a 29% strike guy in the minors and has changed stances twice. He's Jeremy Pena minus the pop. Jeremy Pena didn't have pop last year.
Yeah.
You're trying to walk people onto the ledge. I prefer propaganda to that.
Yeah. Also,
SRTX.
that sounds like Low Perfito. Low
Mhm.
Perfito without pop. That's what he
You
is.
say like velocity pitching, he misses a lot too. Oh boy. King of all Twitches did bring up the point that like, hey, I mean, Kyle Tucker might have struggled in the postseason, but in the regular season, he did get you to the postseason
Yes.
to a degree. I do think the last 2 years you needed Tucker in 23. You needed everything in 23. You barely got there, but the last 2 years, like, did he help that much? You know, like 2022 and 2019 when you
Yeah,
just
they
when you're
didn't need
skull bleeping all of baseball,
yeah.
like that was awesome, and he was a part of that for sure. But I would say the last 2 years, and again, the injury thing, he was playing great before the injury happened. That's what
Yes.
sucks. Um, like he was, I remember, like we had like MVP conversations.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, he's out for a few days.
it was a little bit like yeah, right.
3 months later,
It was
he's
a little bit
still
like
out.
Nico Collins too, where he was so high up in the
Yeah.
home run like hierarchy in MLB that it was several weeks after he got hurt that he finally dropped out like the top 10 in MLB home runs because I think he had something like 19 in the first
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
first 2 months of the season. Yeah, I do. I agree with that a little bit. Of they will need help just getting to the postseason now. Never mind actually in the postseason, but there will be. You can't think so October centric now if you're an Astros fan because
Hey,
you need to get there.
we don't say that. We whisper that.
Okay,
We don't say that aloud.
okay,
We say it like, it might be a little harder now.
yeah.
Might be a little harder now. Might be a little harder.
ALS like it's not ALS isn't incredible,
Sean, stop.
but are the Astros incredible?
Sean, stop it. Stop it. Okay. My whole life is based on the identity of being the best. I don't want to find another bandwagon. You know I have to do it. If they're not good enough, I'm a little slut. I'm a little baseball slut.